The November 24th Conservation Commission meeting. I'm going to take this a little bit out of order. We'd like to open up the hearing for 999 Adams Street, the NOI 84-486. We'll have a motion to open the hearing.
Make a motion to open the hearing for 99 Adams Street.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There we go.
Thank you. I'll read you the letter that we've written to the Abington Conservation Commission regarding precast specialties, 999 Adams Street, Abington. We are requesting a continuation to your next consultation meeting regarding the above address. We've received the review letter from the planning board's engineer. They have some questions on the drainage system, which we are addressing at this time. Therefore, we feel a continuation is appropriate in order to answer all the engineer's questions and the commission concerns. We look forward to seeing you at the next conservation meeting.
Does anybody have any questions about that?
The only question I would ask is, do you want to wait till the next planning meeting before we meet, or do you want it before that, Russ?
What's the relationship?
They meet once a month, so they're probably like...
Well, planning board's once a month, right?
Right, so they're probably December, like...
Usually they're the first Monday.
Yeah, so that's like the 3rd then, right? First.
Yeah, it would probably...
Our next meeting's December 8th, so that would probably work out okay, right?
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay.
That would
I just
be
wanted
good.
to make sure the timing was right,
Yeah.
if they hadn't bumped it.
That makes sense.
I make a motion to continue the hearing
December 8th?
to December 8th.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Do we have a motion to close the hearing?
Motion to
Are
close
we
the
just
hearing.
Well, we don't want to close it,
Oh,
we
we don't
just
close it, right.
continue it.
I
Yeah.
was going to do that, Chair. I do whatever you want.
Okay.
Thanks, Russ.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
What do we have? Old business. I haven't heard anything on the open space update yet. Then we have, who do we have here for the update on 275 Chestnut Street, 84-478?
Yes.
Sir,
Hi.
you have an update?
Pardon me?
You have an update?
Yes.
Okay.
What I wanted to do is just give you a little bit of history of what we've been working on.
Okay.
A while ago, the master asked me to put together a plan for the exhibit over by the power line. So I put together a team of professionals to work on the plans for the conceptual design of the exhibit area. And I'm the project surveyor. Steve Bernstein's the project engineer. Unfortunately, Master Tish couldn't be with us tonight.
Okay.
And we have an architect, Graham Ruggie of Yana's Design, and we also have Delphi Construction will be the general contractors. So we've had several discussions over the past several weeks, and did a lot of number crunching and a lot of conceptual designs and a lot of discussions with the master. And when we presented all that information to him, it took a couple of weeks, and we met with him Friday, and we were gonna go with this design, and I think you have copies of it.
Yes.
But the master decided not to go on that side of the project with the exhibit at this time, so he wants to put that on hold. And he'd like to move the exhibit down to where the existing building is down the east side of the property, back to 275 Chestnut Street. So what we've done tonight is we've prepared two plans, one that addresses the issues of the order of conditions, and the other one addresses the conceptual site for the exhibit, and Steve's going to talk about that. Thank you.
So I'm Steve Bernstein.
Dennis
I'm a civil engineer, registered professional engineer. But I tell you who I am, so you can start asking me
Steve, you
questions.
probably don't remember me, but I had lunch with you in Cosmo a long time ago.
I do remember. So there.
It was good. The food was good.
So I'm a civil engineer, as I said, and I've been working with Elliot on the design team and the master to do a couple of things. One is Nancy provided me copies of the minutes of your previous meetings addressing the subject, and I reviewed those and looked at the order of conditions, and we've drafted this plan. The second thing I'm going to talk about is the new proposed layout for the May event, which I have new prints of, new copies, which I'll share with you in a few minutes. So as Elliot said, we've been working on the project, and we have, the project's kind of like evolving. Matter of fact, we met with Nancy and the building inspector on Friday morning, and then after those meetings, we actually met with the client, and of course, he made some changes. So this is kind of a compilation of all that. Based on the order of conditions that was issued for the project, and again, trying to figure out what you want, what I've done is I prepared a plan which may address what your concerns are, all right? And again, I'm here for your input so that if you want more or less of what I propose, we will then put it on the drawing, and if necessary, come back to you and have you guys approve it so that moving forward, we're all on the same page, okay? So, and basically what, if you're familiar, remember, this is where the existing house is. And the transmission lines are, if you scale-wise, out here somewhere. And essentially, the area disturbance, we'll start with maybe the easy one first, is that little outcrop of rock that goes out into the Cushing Pond area. And basically, the area of clearing, we say that we're going to plant with a wetland mix in the areas that have been disturbed along the bank, and to clear up the brush pile. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, I've been out there a number of times, and as you know, there's an awful lot of ledge in this site, so you may or may not want to try to plant something, which we're trying to figure out how to actually do that. But again, if you want such a thing, we can discuss what you want to do. We feel that we'll put in some seed mix with the loam in the disturbed areas and clear up the brush in this area. Around the house, if I interpret what your minutes said and then what the order of conditions requested, is to provide some, again, this is all, there's no pavement here, it's all being done on gravel, is to pull the gravel back that was installed along the wetland edge or in the buffer zone, pull that up and create a parking area for 7 cars with curb stops and a lane to allow people to exit around the edge of the house. And I've basically, all the disturbed area again will have wetland mix, probably add some seed, add some loam. And the master said this past fall, the grass started to sprout in this area anyways, but our feeling is we're gonna drag that gravel off of that area here and just make it a lane here, 10-foot wide lane, and put down some additional loam so that the seed mix will actually have a better chance of survival. Pull some of these boulders back away from the edge of the bank and create, again, by the way, this will have a soil coil in here, of course, before we do any work. Should have said that first, to protect the area. And establish this area in here for parking. I've added a sign that says no salt zone at the rear of this area here, and I've also put in a sign, although it wasn't clear in the order, to post this as a no salt and no parking zone along this side, which I believe is your intent, that you did not want to have any parking on this side of the building, and pull everything on this side of the building for parking. Again, he's already opened up his driveway, so that's already a done deal. So essentially, that's the extent of the work to address the order conditions.
I don't remember now, did we intend for them to have a travel lane on the left side to go around the house?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
We did, that was a big thing because it made the parking lot there and it was supposed to be a road. We had,
Do we have the original, do we have the filing, Nancy? I just wanted to see I just don't remember, sorry. But
that's okay.
our biggest problem was that the gravel in the parking was right beside the
Right.
bank.
And that's why we're gonna
you know,
pull
and
that.
there was boulders there, but probably because it was unstable, you know.
Right.
And so we had some issues we just didn't want to have that integrity.
All right, so the intent here is, of course, is to pull everything back away from the wetland edge and the edge of the pond, and just create a gravel path out here. And again, plant grass, seed with some loam in here to create, basically stabilize that entire area.
There's a couple of rocks that are unsafe. Did you see them?
Yeah,
Yes, I was there.
we're gonna pull those back over
Okay.
here, and we're gonna pull those back.
Just in
from the
case
area.
somebody,
Right.
there's a, Abingtonian, I used to fish and swim there, so.
Yeah, we say here in the drawing that we're going to
Right.
relocate the boulders along this area and put them on a stable base.
There's a couple that were really unsafe.
Is the intent for the 7-space parking on the other side to have that paved, or is that
No
going to be
pavement, it's
gravel?
all in gravel.
All gravel,
Yeah,
okay.
No additional pavement at all.
So there's
And-
not going to be any space, like lines or anything because of the gravel?
Right, but there'll be concrete curbs there, so people will actually line up to the, you know, those
Oh, yeah.
precast concrete curbs.
Gotcha. Yep.
So those will allow people to actually line themselves up to the curb, as opposed to not having
It's all-
a curbing and then it's
all
kind of like
I
a
think we're
free
asking
for all
for
curb.
curbing around that area too. sort of.
How many parking spaces are you talking about?
Just seven.
Just that.
Now, you said the intent is for next May for this Buddha to come there?
Yeah, can I, I'm gonna.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay, I'm gonna talk about that second, right?
No,
Let's
that's
let me
fine.
address this first. and
Okay.
then-
And there's more brush area, there's some, there is cut brush in the front of the property as
Yeah,
well.
Okay, well, wherever the brush is. when
You're
I was
gonna take it
there,
out.
I only saw the brush. there in
There's
this
some
vicinity.
in front too as
But the
well.
master is prepared to get in there with
And-
his crew in order to remove them.
All those trash bags too.
Excuse me?
Were the trash bags there? If I remember right, yes or no, or just trash?
The trash bags were there, but when I drove
Those are
by,
gone.
I think they're gone.
Yeah,
Oh, are they?
they
Oh, all
weren't
right.
there when I was there.
There's a brush pile that's still there.
Yeah, there's a big brush
Yeah.
pile right here. Again, I didn't see where them from, but,
When I drive by, I see it in the morning.
There's a-
yeah, we're
so-
gonna haul that away. We're not gonna chip it on site. We're actually gonna haul it away.
Thank you.
That's our kind of
What are you doing
approach.
different that you were doing before? What's the difference between what the plan was? Are you putting more stone? You're talking about putting grass along the verge of the parking lots, right, the 7 parking spaces?
This area here, which is presently was put in gravel by the master, we're gonna pull that up and pull the gravel into this area here.
You're going to pull the gravel up from that?
Right, we're gonna scrape it up and put it over here and put down more gravel in that area. And then we're gonna put loam and seed in this area here.
But they're leaving a drive from, on the left side of the house, if you're facing it to the left side of the house, around and
As
back.
close as we can get to the house, within reason.
What I think I think our notes and our conditions express what we wanted, but, because it was an enforcement order, but I don't think that necessarily the plan was as detailed as this.
Well, there's nothing like a plan, as far as I can tell, in order for us to
It
make
doesn't
sure
appear that
we-
there is.
Sure, we're all on the same page, and again, we want to implement that in order to do that. Of course, other than today, I don't think we're going to be able to, I mean, today's a fluke. I mean, once we go out there and stop planting grass seed, but obviously after Wednesday, that's all bets are off. So, you know, obviously this work will have to happen in the springtime, all right? So if that's okay, I would like to jump into the Buddha event. We're calling it the May event, and it's the Jade Buddha event, just to let you know, Jade. And
I have one additional question.
Sure.
Why hasn't it been addressed before now?
Well, that I can't answer you, other than the
Because
fact
it's
that
been-
I'm relatively new on the
Right.
design team. Other than that,
It's been, I want to say it's been 3 months, 3 or 4 months.
It's probably been something like that, but
And,
like I
yeah.
said, the master asked me to put together a team, so that's what
Okay.
we've been doing, is working on taking care of not only the order conditions as well as the exhibit over by the power lines. But now that that's off, we're just gonna concentrate on the east side.
Right, my concern is that I don't want to have this, we've set out an enforcement order with order of conditions on that, and I don't want this to keep going on for months and months and months and months, because we did see erosion that was on some of the banks and the other stuff, and that's my major concern, is that I don't want to keep seeing more erosion happen from what he has done.
Right.
What is going to be on the left-hand side of the house if you're taking up the stone? So there's a road that goes right around the house, right?
Right, we're gonna create a gravel, we're gonna
So there is
create
gonna
that
be
with gravel, and the
gravel.
rest of it's gonna be loamed and seeded,
And see.
and left natural, so the volunteer, whatever volunteers to grow there will grow there. You know, volunteer trees or shrubs or anything else. It's all kind of rocky, and again, as he said, the master said to me yesterday or Friday, he said, you know, the grass has already started to grow in there. I said, well, that's fine, but we gotta pull the gravel out and do it right and put loam down, so it has a chance of survival.
Well, that is grass particular to that area too, right?
Yeah, we're gonna put down the upland mix.
Right.
Yeah, that's what we're planning to do.
I believe some of those things were addressed by Michael when he was
That's
here.
right, yes, he's not here tonight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's why. I was just
Well, it makes sense
asking
to do
for-
that for a lot of different reasons. It's the right thing to do. You know, grass is not the right thing to do, so.
So we would probably need a more detailed description of what you're going to actually put in, the materials you're going to use. Do you think?
Whatever you want. That's what I'm here for. Tell me what you need, we'll provide it for you. I mean, when you say that you want a wetland spec, is that what you're looking for?
Wetland spec is where you're looking at the wetlands, right? Where
Yeah, it's just a wetland mix. It's like, it's like, grassy, but it's wetland mix. It's a different composition of what the,
Yeah.
consistent of.
I don't know.
I don't want to say it's a shelf item, but,
Right.
obviously it's more or less a shelf item.
I think because you're talking about putting stuff into the wetlands.
Well, not in the wetlands, it's just in the wetland buffer area.
In the buffer area.
It's just buffer. We're not touching the wetland, we're not touching the
Well, how
pond,
much
we're
is
not
the
touching
buffer,
everything.
how big is that buffer area from the point of the roadway to the actual lake? How many feet are we talking about?
Well, if you drew a 100-foot buffer on this thing, it's something like, probably go, most of the houses in it, would be my guess, the 100-foot buffer.
How far is the corner of where it turns the road to the edge of the pond? Go up to
Right
that
there,
corner, right?
to the
How
edge.
close is
Looks
that?
like it's 30 feet, it's probably 30 feet.
Right, so it's well within.
That sounds more like
It's
it.
pretty close to the wetlands. It's very close to the actual lake.
Right, I mean, there is a steep bank here, I mean, it's, a transitioning soil is, kind of like dips right down, so.
I don't like the road there.
Well,
And that,
it's already there, isn't it?
it's already, well, they're pulling up all of it, the rest of it.
Right.
I think that
It's
was,
there for residential purpose right now. Is it absolutely necessary to have that
with the other
exit
drive,
road
I
as
don't,
opposed to just one way in and out?
that's what I'm thinking.
To tell you the truth, I don't even understand the purpose of it, other than the fact it was on the original, the way it was laid out.
Well, that's why I'm.
Doesn't logically make any sense, but.
Right, it just seems like the other driveway would be the better access way, and I think I'd be,
Do you?
Yeah, I think when we met with the board on Saturday morning, they said, on the commission, they said that he could drive around, that's all, not park.
Right,
So that's where that is.
That was only a convenience at the time.
Right.
I think long-term, it would, to me, make sense to have it on the other side of the house to access those 7 parking spaces without having to come around that close to the pond. So I'm also thinking about, I don't know, what, in the winter, if it's any plowing, pulling around that corner, and any type of contaminants being that close.
it's not a big lot, so.
But I think you have to tell us our second part of the
Right,
story.
yes.
There's more stuff moving in beside the house.
There is.
Okay.
But let's just talk about the driveway for a minute. I don't want to put words in your mouth. It makes sense to me to eliminate that right here.
Yep.
And just-
Yeah, I think that would be much
And
better.
I think that would address most of your concerns.
That
Yes.
would-
Do I agree? Do I agree?
That would make me feel comfortable.
No, I mean,
Just
I'm
because,
looking- I'm here for your input.
I think we just want to get it away from the bank.
Yes.
and
I think we were worried about the impact,
Yeah, you-
and it just makes it so that there's no vehicles accidentally parked there. It's very clear that it's not a parking area.
Okay, so we'll leave, I don't know if we'll leave the sign here or do something here, but we'll terminate this here.
Perfect,
We all agreement with that?
Perfect.
yes.
Agree? And
So,
we'll take all that gravel up and place it over here and do the same thing, more or less what we
Yep.
propose to do.
I think that would be great.
would anybody like to see, I mean, personally, I'd like to see at least a replications map for the site for any of the shrubbery or stuff that you're using around, especially around the wouldn't call it an island, more like a little peninsula there that he's already disturbed. Because there was some 6-inch caliber trees that were all cut out and other stuff like that, so I'd kind of really like to see what you're putting back in there and where it's gonna go and what types of shrubs and stuff like that are gonna be going in there for the wetlands.
Well, we haven't proposed any,
Okay.
right? We haven't proposed any only because when I was there, it didn't seem to be enough soil. I mean, obviously, the trees had grown somehow, Mother Nature or Johnny Appleseed or whomever
Right.
spread those seeds out and somehow those trees planted. When we were there last, it didn't seem like there was a square inch of soil in order to actually
It's
plant a tree.
almost all peat moss. It was very spongy walking on over out there, because it would jump up and down a good 3 or 4 inches, so I understand what you're saying.
So we weren't proposing to plant any trees out there. It was unclear in the order. I mean, there was a general section about wetland replication, but there was no specific as to, I mean, in the minutes you talked about some sweet pepper, is that the word?
Sweet pepper bush.
Sweet pepper bush and some red and oak trees. I forget the name of the trees that you talked about, but it wasn't specifically on the order. And that's what my question was, what exactly you would like there?
We would like something that would survive, would be
Yes.
my comment, and I think we're looking to you to have, propose something that would
Bushes
work.
be better than trees, you think? And again,
I would expect that bushes would be better than trees, just because I think the trees, also impact the stability of the, do you guys agree? I think I'd like bushes, because I think they might grow faster.
And-
I think we're actually talking from a disadvantage there, because normally we would have an actual report of
Well,
what the indigenous.
That's why I'm suggesting that they
Maybe
propose.
we didn't have one on this project. Do
No.
we have anybody go out, Brooke Shields or any, Brooke, Brooke, do you have anybody go out and have a look at the
Brooke
actual
Shields.
thing to see what was
I
going on?
just got it.
You don't know, right? I don't think we had a report from a naturalist.
No.
Wetland site.
No.
So, because that's what, because.
I think if they could provide it, Dennis, that would be great.
Yeah.
Is this something, John?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we have a wetlands person, John Sellero,
Yeah,
who did the wetland report, who actually is going to be on site hopefully on Wednesday, almost be a snowstorm. So we'll ask him for that input, and he'll provide something, and if you so desire, I'll come back December 8th if I can get on your agenda and present further details regarding that. How about that?
Good.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
I think we needed this conversation, so I knew exactly what you were looking for.
Sure.
Okay, so the second part of my presentation is what we call the May 2015
We don't have this.
Buddha event, and I have a new drawing for you, which supersedes what's given to you by Nancy. And only Nancy gave it because I gave it to her on Friday, so it's my fault, not hers. She was trying to give you a packet so that you could look at this, and then I blew it, and then when we talked this morning, you already had done the packet, so.
Thank you.
And I don't know if anybody needs any additional copies.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
So I'll just go over, this is just a large scale of the same plan. Again, we'll modify the gravel drive so it doesn't show on this plan. So if you don't know about the Jade Buddha event, Dan, did you make a copy of the Jade Buddha event that was in Braintree? Did you make that copy or not?
Yes, we have it. Yep.
So you saw that in the month of October, early November, the Jade Buddha statue was at the Quincy Temple. The 4-ton, 8-foot-tall, gorgeous statue. And that's basically, by the way, it travels throughout the world. It left Braintree and went to California. I think it's the only other place within the United States, and then makes the world tour, and the masters have made arrangements for it to be back in this area, hopefully on this site, in May 24th, I believe it is, and then it'll be there for a month. And he hopes to draw people to the event and to raise money so he can build his dream temple, which again is on hold until he can raise some money to do that. So we initially talked about your original packet. We showed it to be again adjacent to the transmission line, but that again proves kind of there's a lot of work to be done in order to clear that lot in order to have an event there in May. So Plan B, if you want to call it, is to see if we could put it essentially behind the house in the vicinity that we showed it. Again, I've done the layout based on what I know. I only say that because I'm not so sure I know very much about this. I basically modeled it after what I saw at the Braintree event. So the parts of it is, there's a stage where the Buddha actually is elevated and the statue is actually put on it. And then there's a series of other small memento Buddhist-related religious articles were put around the Buddhist statue. The Quincy facility had 100 seats that were there, and people come, and they have different prayer services. People come during the rest of the time just to take a look at the statue and do individual prayers. At the Braintree facility, they had a tent which they sold pre-prepared food. My wife actually bought some when it was tofu. I thought it was chicken, but they're vegetarians if you don't know. And they were selling pre-prepared foods here and miscellaneous other things, religious material. And because there's no bathroom, I mean, the house has a bathroom and it's attached to sewer, but we figured we would put porta-johns in for toilet facilities. And the master has tentatively made arrangements to park at an elementary school in town. I don't know if it's formalized, I doubt it is at this moment in time, but he had some initial discussions to park at a satellite location and then shuttle people to and fro, and workers to and fro the site to come to the event. That's all I know. I don't know any of the details about that at all. And again, that would happen between May 24th and probably June 24th. And even though this point we won't park here, probably we would have handicap parking here, would be my guess, only because of the ADA rule. They have to address that somehow. Seems logical to do it here as opposed to doing it any other way. And we only got this information since Friday, so I'm putting it together. I also put down some lights in order to light up the statue, and based on the Braintree experience, you may worry about security and stuff. They guard this thing 24/7, and during the events in Braintree, they have the local police department down for traffic control and safety. So it was well managed in the Braintree facility in order to do we'll call it crowd control. But it was all coordinated with the Braintree Police Department, and we have already talked to the building inspector about what exactly the process would be in order to permit some plane. He mentioned the police department for traffic control, the Board of Health for sanitary conditions for the food preparation and the porta-johns, and those type of things. So we're kind of like thinking out the exact permitting process.
Where was it held in Braintree?
Sorry.
Where was it held in Braintree?
155 Quincy Avenue in Braintree.
Okay.
Right near the Weymouth-Braintree line, actually.
Yeah, I know where it is.
They have an existing temple there, which was a former nursing home, and they converted it into a temple. And the reason why I laid it out this way is to pull it as far away from the pond as possible. It wasn't done by accident. We basically tried to pull everything in this direction. Now, since we only heard about this on Friday, Elliot, who's a surveyor, and John Salvello was going out here on Wednesday to take a look at everything to make sure that it's compliant. He's going to have to obtain some additional topographic information. So he's in the process of doing that, because we don't have any grading and topographic information in this vicinity. When we started this project, and when I always started this project, we weren't thinking about doing anything down the house, so that's why that information is scheduled. So when I talked to the building inspector, actually when Ellie and I talked to the building inspector on Friday, I had talked, and I also spoke to Nancy on Friday also, just to coordinate things. This is when the event was going to be more or less where the transmission line is, and the first thing Marshall did was check the wetlands overlay district plan for the town map for wetland overlay district, which this whole area, of course, falls into that district. He said that we'd have to go before the Zoning Board of Appeals and then do an environmental impact statement and, again, go through the Conservation Commission in order to get approval. So that was that project, but I'm not so sure how to proceed with permitting in this project. So I'm asking you, and maybe you need some, you have to think about it, maybe you don't have to think about it, I don't really know. The fact that we're, based on the Google Earth map and being out here, this area here is essentially all cleared. There is nothing back here. I don't know how far that goes back, but I believe the area that we're actually thinking about doing something is already leveled. Don't get me wrong, it's not level, it's leveled, because there's a lot of ledge outcrop in the area, as you know. There's some earth, but there's a lot of ledge outcrop. And how we're going to deal with that, we're going to evaluate that on Wednesday when we're out in the field. We're not quite there yet. So there probably going to be some earth moving, I would assume, in order to level off the space, in order to make this work, because the chairs won't work, obviously, we're sitting on ledge, because The last thing we want to do is have an unsafe situation for the people who will come and utilize this facility. So there'll be probably some lane clearing in here. So what we've shown is, again, this is not anything other than what it is. It's just really more of a concept plan. And it's just for discussion purposes, and I'm yielding to you to provide me input so we can move forward in this. Is I've extended the erosion control silt sock further into the site in order to capture everything here. And again, we're not, now that we're eliminating all this, there won't be any work done. And this, again, from the order of condition point of view, this work will be taken care of. And then this builds from that point. And probably the projects will probably happen at the same time, assuming I can get permission to do such a thing. Because in order to be ready for the May 24th event, we got to get, as soon as we can, we get in there and start preparing the site for this. And of course, preparing the site will also mean making the updates for the, from the order of conditions and addressing those. But if we start in March or April, obviously we have to wait until the growing season before we can actually plant anything to do that. So that's our intent.
Do we know how long the statue's planned to be there?
About a month.
Okay.
And then are you going to return the site? Are you going to,
Then we're going to replicate it back to the original condition, that's correct. And that's a good point, right. We're going to bring it back to the earlier plan.
So-
Because after that, there won't be any other purpose for the site other than back to the original conditions.
So I think that if there's permanent changes here, I mean, any earth moving will require a notice of intent, I think. That would be my first comment to you, so that if you are going to start leveling things, maybe level it up instead of leveling it down. But whatever it is you decide to do there, I think any, significant amount of more than just an inch alone is probably something we're going to need a notice of intent for. Are any of these going to remain as permanent fixtures when they leave, even the podium for the?
No.
No.
Yeah, and Braintree, just to let you know, if you went by there today, you would have no evidence whatsoever that they had the Buddha.
So the Buddha comes with his own platform?
Well, I believe it does, but they had erected a gigantic wall behind this and a big stage and everything else in the chairs. I mean, everything, all of that's gone. I mean, literally, it's, this was dismantled. Matter of fact, we were there the other day, they were expecting the Buddha. Comes in a, if you don't know, it's kind of interesting. If you can go online, you can actually see this. Comes in a tractor-trailer truck. You have to hire a forklift truck in order to actually put it in place. And, it's a logistic, it's like anything else. But they, had it all done, and then as soon as it was done, they put it back in the container, packed it up, and shipped it off to California. And the master actually had to go there with the Buddha in order to make sure it got safely to California. It's a big, I know maybe it doesn't mean anything to us, but from his point of view and from his sex type of thing, it's a real big deal about this Buddha. I mean, this is, I guess it was a traffic accident, the thing tipped over. I mean, it was like people having nervous breakdowns about it. It's a big deal. It's also an incredible piece of sculpture, I guess. It's made out of a solid piece of jade, so I think it's really an incredible thing. It weighs 4 tons, so it's really incredible. I know it probably has no significance to us, but for, it's a big deal for the master and his religion.
The other thing I'm worried about is people walking around, past where our silt fence is and also into the wetland area that we're trying to replicate over here. I know in the past we've suggested, if the master wanted to do it, was to add some kind of walking path. I think we had actually suggested that before, that we could permit for, because my guess is the inclination is for people going to be to want to walk along the water.
Didn't they do something cutting?
No,
That was in a previous plan.
Yeah.
There was a big previous plan like that. He did actually had parking spaces in the middle of it. And
yeah, but that's not what they're doing. But it's just a general comment for you. You take it as you want. But for me, I'm more worried about people, if we just have that little roll of, the silt roll, I don't think it's going to stop anybody. So I don't know what we want to do there.
How many people visit the Buddha?
Well, he says he expects thousands of people.
How many, do you know how many went to Braintree?
I don't, and I meant to ask him the other day, but it was probably, several thousand people came.
Several thousand.
Right.
It's a lot of people on a
When I went on
piece of-
Sunday, the first time I went, I had just missed, he told me, I had just missed, they had a service that they held there. There were only 100 chairs, so I can't imagine there were more than 100 people there. I mean, if there were more than 100 people, then they would have been standing, and maybe there would have been 200 people there. But the Braintree site was not very large, so it couldn't have been thousands.
All right.
But people come by the way, and they pray, and they normally leave a donation.
Is it open 24 hours?
I don't believe so, but the security, I went by one night to show off friends of ours that were with us, in order to swing by. It was like at 10 o'clock at night or something. I pulled up to the fence, and the master came out, and I said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "Security. We're here all the time to make sure the place is guarded." But it's not really open to the public. It's really open during the daylight time. It's too dangerous to do it, even in the Braintree facility.
Well, you just worry that people are gonna trip and fall.
But they're there because we're not worried about anybody stealing it. They're worried about vandalism,
Right.
Sense.
more so than anything else. And I don't think it's like anything else. Why would anybody vandalize it? An age-old question I'm trying to figure out for all my life.
Are you planning to go in front of the planning board for the parking, or does that?
Well, on the other side, the way the site plan approval is, if it's 50 cars or more, you need to go before a minor or a
Okay.
major planning board. But now that we're going to do off-site planning, to tell you the truth, I don't know.
Okay, so you don't need it for the small parking lot right next to the building?
When I talked to Marshall for the other plan, he indicated to me I had to go before the planning board because of the parking. But in this case, again, it's kind of like, I guess I'll resort back to the last time we permitted this in Abington. Of course, the answer, we haven't done that, so nobody knows the answer. It's one of these things. I don't know, I'm not so sure who approves it. I've asked the question to Nancy whether or not the selectmen actually issues a permit for this type of event. I've talked to Rick Floyd about that. He asked me to, he didn't know either, but he said, when you write us a letter, I'll show it to the selectmen and then we'll go from there. Because I'm not so sure whether or not, you know how if you're gonna have an assembly somewhere in the city of Boston in a public way, you gotta get a parade permit. But this isn't that. But I'm not sure what it is. I really don't know. It's not, it's not in your ordinances. Marshall has a list of everything that the selectman issues for permits on his wall, but it doesn't fit into any of those categories. All I want to do is, for the master's sake and for the team's sake, is I want to dot all the I's and cross all the T's, so come May 24th, we can get the permit and have the event.
Okay.
So if I need to go before the planning board, which will have a plan, I'm not so sure I submit it as it doesn't really require a drain. We're not really, essentially, we're not really changing anything. We're not massively changing grades.
Right.
If we do grading, it's going to be, well, let's say this about grading. We'll know better when Elliott surveys it and we have an existing condition plan, and then we'll figure it out. Maybe we're lucky and maybe we can find an area that's relatively flat, that doesn't require any earth moving in the backyard of the site. Maybe it's a little closer, maybe it's a little further away. I've never really looked at the backyard that way because on Friday, we didn't know that was even on the table.
Well, if I may,
Go
Mr. Chairman, any grading or earth moving, and you have to, as Kathy said, do a notice of intent. So anything like that, there has to be notice of intent. But normally with a big project, sometimes we do things like ANRADs beforehand to work out where all the wetlands are, and then work out the principles. But here you're talking about doing something that the next day is going to be gone.
Correct.
So there's no, like Kathy mentioned, there's no permanent fixtures. As against that, we're talking about thousands of people we anticipate walking around near the wetlands. So that does come within our jurisdiction. I think that there is definitely a danger there, a risk to the wetlands. So that's the, we're not
I think
talking
the safest
about,
thing is if they file so that they have permission and we're not bothering them.
yes, but even within the filing, he's asking what kind of filing we have. So obviously, if there's any earth moving, that's the normal work that you do. But here, I suppose the danger is to the wetlands and nature if you anticipate thousands of people coming. So how are we going to protect wetlands? Because my point in asking about the the stone and the roadway, is we're not really talking about a big distance between the building and the structure and the lake. It's quite, where is 100 feet from from the lake?
Probably something like this.
Yeah.
For 30 scales, 3 inches.
Yeah, I think it's close to here, it's close to the actual.
Probably
entrance of the whole
goes through the
property.
house, something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that, if I remember correctly. We haven't, actually, if I think of an earlier plan,
And really, we should be looking at not 100 feet, but 200 feet. Would that be right?
There's a ro-
200 feet.
There is, the river enters in, and it enters over more towards the
Yeah,
left.
Elliott's original survey plan that I believe he put in for the order of conditions. I believe the 100-foot mark is right here.
So when we talk about a body of
Just to let
water,
you know.
we're not talking about 100 feet, but we're talking about an area of 200 feet from the body of water. Is that right?
No, just from the river.
Well, riverfront, but the river is here, and the inlet is over here, based on what I...
Yeah, there's a dam right there.
It's right here somewhere.
Yeah.
What about the lake, though? Where's the lake?
The lake is 100 feet.
It's
The edge of the
everywhere.
pond is right here, but that's only 100 feet buffer on that.
It's under chapter 41, it's only 100 feet. Okay.
Oh, chapter 91 you're talking about, right?
Right.
Yeah, but that's for work in the water, right, 91?
Yeah, we're not doing any work on the water. Essentially, so this is how it was delineated earlier on the 100-foot. So,
So I think we'd have to know, this is a fantastic project, this is really terrific, and it's really going to, I think Abington's so lucky to be able to host something like this. But I think we need to know at least an anticipated figure of the amount of people you think are going to be there. And if it is, as you say, thousands, then we have to know what kind of protections are going up. Like Kathy said, a silk screen just isn't going to.
Well, it's not. They're talking about those, you were talking about those logs, right?
Silt sock.
Silt sock,
Silt
yeah.
sock.
but you
That-
can also put in a temporary construction fence.
Right.
And I'm not talking about the orange one, but I'm talking about like you put it around construction sites that are on feet, that we try to keep.
So like the 4 or 6 foot ones that they have, the temporary ones you bring in?
And personally, from the master's point of view, it would be good to put a fence around this property anyways, not necessarily to keep people from going into the pond, but to keep people from coming into the site. I know it's a different perspective, it does the same thing though, that it will prevent people from migrating this way, but more importantly, at nighttime, it prevents people from coming in and sneaking around the other side.
Right.
Because in reality, it's kind of like, I don't know why anybody would vandalize it, but,
Well,
who knows?
things happen.
I know, but based on I know what he did in Braintree, he was, super sensitive about trying to containerize this thing for him. It's worth, the thing is, just to rent it for the month, he told me it costs $50,000-$60,000 from getting it, to borrowing it, to dealing with it, to protecting it, and everything else. It's not like it's, like the Christmas ornaments in front yard. It's some big thing. So, and I don't believe I imagine he has a gigantic insurance policy for it also, in the event it doesn't get damaged, so he doesn't get, I don't know what the thing costs to build, but it's showing that $60,000 is probably some gigantic amount of money. So I would suggest maybe, what type of thing is put that construction fence in. You can rent it for, being in construction, they rent these things for years. So I imagine that it could easily be done, I would imagine, to bring it in. It comes in that rubber feet type of thing, and then they interlock, if you're familiar with, they interlock the chain link so that you really can't pick it up because it's too heavy.
Right.
So, and the beauty of it is it doesn't sit literally on the ground. So if you're worried about wildlife, the wildlife can still pass through the fencing.
Because it's on the footings.
It's on the footings, so I would say it's
beach.
probably a foot, maybe 18
About
inches.
this long and probably about that high.
Right, so there's 6 couple, which is good, so, we need to get animals in another thing to still migrate. Obviously, we want to protect the wetland resource, but we don't want to prevent the animals from using it. I once worked in a job that had happened, and I went to the Conservation Commission and said, well, yeah, we built a silt fence and hay bales and stuff, and the turtles who want to come out of the wetland want to lay their eggs on uplands, and they can't get there from there. Can we breach the thing? And I no. What do you mean? How is the turtles supposed to go there? Anyway, different story.
And the last thing would be, probably for me anyway, is a restoration plan, just something documenting what you're going to do to put the site back to
you're
original
absolutely
or
right.
better condition.
Yeah, would have to be restored, right?
Right, I'd like to understand what you're proposing.
Yeah, 'cause it is exciting, and obviously it's a sacred event, so we're not talking about Woodstock, right? We're talking about people that are very well organised.
Yeah, I don't think we are.
So, I mean, I understand that,
Yeah.
but if it's so many people,
I'm just
you know,
afraid of the
we-
tramping and the tramping along the wetlands edge, and also just some erosion that's going to happen from it, and plus, just safety reasons, it might be not a bad idea.
But if you designated pathways, then that might be a way of handling it.
Well, based on what I saw at the Braintree event, people came for the Buddha and left after the Buddha. I mean, there wasn't any, it's not a carnival activity, there's no other than the food they sell, there's no other thing that they're trying to market that day. There's no other event occurring. Now, whether or not they should have it, that's beside the point. And people came and people went, just like my wife and I went, spent some time with the master and, saw the Buddha and looked it over. Actually, I looked at the structural design of the stage because I'm an engineer and that's what us engineers do, but that's beside the point. I looked at more of the logistics than anything else. By the way, they don't drink alcohol, so there's no alcohol event, not that you care. And then again, they do sell pre-prepared foods and fruit.
Well, we know it's a religious ceremony, it's a very special event, we understand that. It's just, we're actually concerned about the wetlands. So we have an ANRAD, we have a request for determination, and we have a notice of intent.
Well, I don't think the ANRAD applies because they've already done one, essentially, in the last notice.
And we know where the wetlands are.
Right, so the two choices are notice of intent and request for determination. I'd probably be more comfortable with all of this under a notice, just so that everything's documented and we have clear orders of conditions and a clear drawing.
So the plan is, once we delineate the wetlands, Elliot will go out and survey and prepare a new existing conditions plan. I will then work with the master to hand him out the details of logistically how to show everything. And then from what you just told me, I will then prepare a more detailed plan and file a notice of intent accordingly. And we'll go from there.
Does that sound right?
And
Sounds
then
good, yeah.
the last thing I ask is, again, it's up to whatever you want to do. Basically, I see both of these actions of fixing the order of conditions and doing this work more or less at the same time. Because I can't do it earlier. Unless, global warming and we get spring in February. But it just appears that we'll have to do the work in the spring. But
Right.
again, I can't make any promises, I'm the master, but the plan is to do the work in the spring.
Right. And just to let you know, our concern is to make sure that the replication gets done either together with this or before that, not, the Buddha can't afford to do replication,
No.
just wants to do the site work, so,
Now, the plan is to do both of those things at the same time.
okay.
Okay?
Sounds good. Anyone else? Any questions?
No, that was very informative. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And again, my goal is to come back on the 8th with your permission, and I'll come up with a more detailed plan on how to do the order of conditions.
Okay.
I'll probably be a lot smarter then about the rest of the site by then also, assuming we don't get a major snowstorm in the way.
Nice. Excellent. Thank you. New business. We have a request for a certificate of compliance from Lot 3A, Chestnut Street, Kyle de Justburg. As a lot number, what is it, number 221, and the DEP number is 84439. How are you?
Good.
I open it up to the board.
drive by here, but I did not go out and walk the site. Did anybody walk it? No. Do we have a bigger version of this plan, Nancy? Did they submit a bigger one?
So Kyle, this was completely new construction, right?
Yep.
Do you have the original?
Everything go okay?
Yeah.
And, looks like it's, do we have this as a Boulder Street level, or?
The house itself?
Yeah.
No, because the driveway kind of dips down, but then it comes back up to the house, which is pretty well above
Yeah, okay.
road level.
I see the driveway dip and kind of.
Yeah, we did the best we could to take the first out of that driveway. Structurally, it's all, everything is in, complete. Didn't get the hydrant seated 2 weeks ago, and then what happened? I don't have germination yet.
Right.
And I don't know if it's gonna happen this, season.
The only difference I saw was that you put in a slightly bigger culvert, with instead of 8 inches, 12 inch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is the house bigger? It's hard to tell on here.
Shouldn't be. I mean, well, compared to, what's this one, the proposed?
Yeah, that's the proposed. It looks like you had a smaller slab next to it. I'm assuming it was a house and a garage, and now that's that piece here.
Yeah, that's the garage here.
Let's see, the scale is
So it's
1 inch equals 20 feet, and this scale is 1 inch.
36 by 28. So it's actually a little smaller
This,
in this way. It's 28 here. It's still 36 this way.
okay.
And the garage is 24.
So this is smaller.
It's a little bit smaller.
Sorry, it's just hard, the plans are at different scales. Looks like everything's pretty much in the same place. Driveway went back a little farther. So the only thing on the ag-bill plan we got, we didn't, the wetlands line isn't marked. So I'm looking at the plan that they gave us, the big plan that you guys have, just because my eyes are too bad. I can't read those damn tiny prints.
I was just tiny little thing.
And the only difference, the thing I noticed is that the wetlands aren't delineated on here. And then,
Way on the top, way.
and then this.
I thought it was because the wetlands are, you see where it says that line 165 feet, 82 inches? I thought the wetland.
Oh, so the wetlands go here. I'm looking at something else here that had the envelope. Sorry, so it's here. So it's,
They're to the left
yeah,
and the
there's a
top.
wetland like here, and then it goes up. It essentially just kind of goes up along this edge here.
Right, the crushed stone pad, I mean, that circle's part of the wetlands. Is it there?
Mhm.
Does it go into
Yeah.
there? Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't on the original plan. Which is weird, because the scales are off. See? That's this piece here.
There's the house, right.
So, piece here, there is that crushed stone there. It just looks like it's bigger there.
And the wetlands is just here.
Yeah, there might be a little more
Well,
crushed
that's
stone than
right
we
there.
originally, because we had enough and it made good banking to kind of secure that area. So we used
And the
it.
drainage then comes down here.
So Kathy, your concern is you'd like to see it on
On the as-built,
On the
that's all.
as-built
That's
plan.
probably my only real
Okay.
comment on the plans themselves, is I'd like to see the wetlands line, because that's what we're here.
Is that something that you could,
I would think, I mean,
It should be easy.
yeah.
It's just a line. That should probably be a layer from here that you can pull. I think we should go out to, somebody should go look at the site before we approve it. I mean, I drive by it, it looks like it's in pretty good shape. It's actually, I don't want to talk about the neighbors on either side, but I don't want to, this one was looking like it was looking pretty good.
When
I
are you
wouldn't
gonna-
suggest walking out there after today, because you'll sink in mud.
Well, that's
But
what I
Yeah,
saw. I see
I
a lot
passed
of
it,
mud
yes.
going down into there.
it'd be tough to walk the site.
Oh, wait a second, you
But-
mean this isn't, yeah, this isn't
Oh,
finished?
Well, no, the
drive?
driveway is, yeah, but I'm just saying that the yard itself is somewhat muddy
Is it
when after a hard
did you-
rain.
Is it grassed yet?
It's been hydroseeded, but the grass hasn't actually,
wasn't taken yet?
I think
When
we should wait.
I went out there a few weeks ago, and it was all mud, it was, you know.
yeah, well,
behind-
it's not all mud now, but,
No.
oh, this is a zoo, so let me just, oh, all right, it blew off.
This is probably one of my pet peeves with certificates of compliance. I like to see the grass or whatever it is established before we approve it, just because.
Well, we've missed a growing season, though, we're getting to the winter. When are you putting it
Well-
on the market?
Well, it's sold already, so I have a closing coming up. What I was hoping to get, and anticipating that maybe that was the issue, is possibly a partial release. Because whatever I get here, is, you know, this is a zoo, I don't know why he's calling right now, but it might be related, so I'll call
Do you
him
want to
later.
take a minute, or?
I'll call him later.
Is that the
So-
architect's? Yeah, I mean, well, I actually did go past, you know, and I think Bill did, so we did go and have a look at the area.
But when did you go?
It was when it was coming up for this meeting.
Oh,
So I
okay,
didn't
yeah,
turn
sure.
up
Oh,
at
you
the
did?
meeting.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
of course, didn't turn up at the actual meeting, but you know, I totally forgot about it on a Monday night. But I did actually do my homework. It was that day I went and met with you, Nancy, so whatever that was 2 or 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago.
What's your timeline in terms of the closing?
The closing is right now, you know, we're trying to finish up the interior, so it was supposed to close October 31st, but things weren't ready. And
Okay.
so I'm anticipating like probably first week in December, something like that.
The first
First week in December,
So next week?
you know, not December 1st, but in that somewheres, and hopefully, I mean,
Where December 8th is our next meeting.
Then
isn't it?
it still
Something
doesn't
in
help
that.
with the grass.
Well, no.
no, the grass is probably not gonna grow until,
If it's not gonna grow, will someone say they'll hold it out?
well, yeah, there's gonna be a holdback at some point, yeah.
Oh, all right, then if that's the case,
So,
then
I'm just trying
we're
to,
covered on that situation for the grass.
Yeah.
you know, make it the least holdback that I can. So, I mean, if nothing is approved by you guys, I'm thinking they're gonna try to hold back a lot of money versus if it's just grass, that's a hydroseed rake thing.
I mean,
As long as everything-
Have we ever had precedents where we've done a partial and then, no?
Not that I know of.
You know,
I
know
don't know if you can
DEP does.
use
I don't think you can do
partial
partial.
anyway. The certificate of compliance is really for the contractor, right, and the buyer and seller. It's not
Not for
really
the
for the
property.
Conservation Commission at all.
No, well, it closes our ability to do anything except you know, we can still do an enforcement order, but
Right.
usually you're still working within your notice of intent kind of
Within the
thing.
confines of the project. I mean, I suppose the answer tonight is, was the house constructed according to the plans that were given to Conservation Commission? And it seemed to me that it was. And in fact, we have an engineer's letter that has said that the only difference between our orders and what they actually did was the size of the culvert. And they actually made a slightly larger culvert than a smaller culvert, which I think is probably better for drainage. But that's Kathy's area, but I would think a larger
It's-
culvert.
But in our orders too, we do specify that we need to have, the lot has to be seeded and grown in.
Mhm.
Yes. But you're, when did you
Well, the reason I
start
came in, I
construction?
was in the same position, but with an overriding order of conditions last winter, and DEP gave me a partial release, so I thought it was something that would be doable here too, so.
That was the house on Bedford
On
Street
Bedford,
with the driveway thing going. Remember, the driveway ended up being gravel or stayed dirt,
Partially gravel, yeah.
partially gravel, so they were still trying to decide that. But that allowed them to build the house, I think. I guess maybe we could get a commitment letter from somebody saying that they're gonna seed it in the spring. Maybe that would be the answer. I'm trying to think of what we can do.
Right.
I mean, to me, somehow I know that it's gonna get seeded. I mean, I expect it will, but what if it doesn't?
Well, it is seeded, but not that it won't need to probably be touched up a little in spring, but.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see it grow, that's all.
Right.
Well, then we do the commitment letter, and the fact that he is being held back, so it all works together.
Maybe that's, but I don't know who
And
we should get it from.
And either, let's say, the seed is all done, and he comes back in the spring, so it's all done, can you release my letter or something like that?
Yeah, I'd come back in the spring or whenever the grass is growing and get the full.
We'll work with him on that
Certificate of
situation.
compliance.
I don't see why not.
Do you have a copy of the form that we would sign? I mean, we could have, whatever the closing letter is, the documents that you're going to use at your closing could be part of our file for that.
I'm just trying to
It'd be-
think of a way out of here so
I mean,
we get
in
through
the
done.
bigger projects, the houses, they've done certificates of compliance just for a particular house. The big project is still going. But I just kind of look and see if there's something within our certificate that allows us. It says here, ongoing conditions. The following conditions of the order shall continue. Include any conditions contained in the final order, such as maintenance or monitoring that should continue for a longer period. So that's where, because the certificate of compliance is not really for us at all, it's for you, it's for the owner. But this allows us to continue for instance, in that other project, even when he finishes something, that we're asking him, where we want you to go through, say, one growing season or two growing seasons where you're going to make sure that, in the other project that the grass knoll is part of the natural landscape and doesn't bring in any other alien properties. And in here it might be to do we would presumably be able to give you a certificate and just simply say that we expect one condition, which it even says condition numbers. So it relates back to our order of conditions and says we're going to agree that it's compliant, but one particular condition or two conditions stay with that. And, we could even diary that for a meeting in the spring. Because we're dealing with growing seasons now, and we've missed this growing season.
Yeah, I think, I'm hoping maybe see something, but it's not going to be much, even if we get, a warm spell, it's going to be just a little sprouting.
What I'm trying to say is, I think we can actually get a certificate of
Okay.
compliance.
I think if we can put
does that
something
make
in there,
sense?
that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Does it make sense to you
Yes.
guys? Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
because
look at the
not
form.
really such thing as a half certificate. Oh, well, actually, you know what? They do have partial certification. Check all that apply. You can do a complete certification, certify the work is regulated, or a partial certification. But, what do you require to sell your house? Presumably you need a complete certification.
Well, it's going to be a holdback for landscape anyways, so I'm not sure, I don't even know if I'm really accomplishing much by getting a partial release, but to me, at least it says, okay, they can't say, well, we don't know if the grading's done or the driveways, you know what I mean? If it says on it, yeah, this is fine, except the grass isn't growing yet, then the only thing they can really hold back from me is the grass and the landscape.
Well, you see, I'm inclined to give you, as one member of the board, is to give you a complete certification, but require that the ongoing condition of the grass at one growing season.
I
That's
think
what
that
I'm
might be
inclined
better
to do.
because I'm not sure that the partial is going to be enough for him.
Yeah.
Can we do this? I mean, we'd like to go out and look at it, so, can we put this off until our next meeting? Go out and look at it
December 8th.
first, and then say, okay, yes, we'll get it.
Yeah, probably, I don't,
Is that okay?
We're still struggling with, getting everything done inside, so.
And in the meantime,
And I
if
got
you...
Thanksgiving, yeah, so.
Yeah, and in the meantime, if you can get the wetlands line on the drawing, that will solve that problem for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, I don't see that would be a problem.
No, it
No,
shouldn't
you
be.
just have the chap that actually did it, you just get him to write a line in.
Yeah.
That way it'll be in our permanent record, and we'll have that.
Yeah, because Kathy is right. There's a list of things that we're supposed to look at.
And yet that seems, like this is what we'll pull up later if there's
Yeah,
ever an
no,
issue.
it makes sense, I'm
Yeah.
surprised it's not there.
It's okay. Go, everything else it looks like,
Yeah.
so.
So,
And then we can do the full.
yeah, do a complete certification.
All right, so I'll come to the next meeting and we'll figure it out, and hopefully we'll have a new plan. You guys have walked it.
Yep.
Perfect.
And our
Thank
next
you.
meeting is December 8th.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there, actually, just while we have the contractor, is a good time to go out and have a look at the place? How are we doing that on Thursday?
When? Before the football game, right?
I know, before or after. But should we get a date that we can walk the land?
What's the condition of the ground?
It's a little muddy, but I mean, it depends on what you're gonna, how deep into it you're gonna walk, I mean, you can see a lot from the driveway as far as grading. I mean, I don't know that you actually have to walk across to look at the grading, because you can see it all.
We
As
have to
you-
walk
The
around.
driveway is...
I went there when on the first, about the
Well,
pile, so, I mean, those
Yeah,
are all
that's
gone, the hay
gone,
bales are still there.
Yeah.
So,
It's silt fencing
I
in
mean,
the back.
we can see that's all, it's within the area, I mean, we can see that from the driveway, like you just
Yeah.
said, so.
I mean, the
So
main
it's not a
area,
lot to worry about. In fact,
the main area that, of disturbance is where we put the culvert in, and that was just re-hay bales within the last couple of weeks, so that's, you could see that.
I was able to see most of it from the road, to be honest. I was able to see it from the road.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Let's forget that then.
and while we're there, the property to your right has decimated their backyard and looks like they're reseeding it. And then on the left, the property next to, Chestnut Street must have been the day for us, right?
Yes, that's-
The property next to where the Jade Buddha event's going to be has actually taken down a whole bunch of their backyard. So I think we need to take a look at the Mass DEP wetlands. I just didn't have a chance before I got here to do that, so I'm sorry I didn't do that. But while we're out there, it might not be a bad idea to take a peek at both. They both may be outside the jurisdiction, but I just don't know.
Is Saturday a good day for everybody?
Not Friday, I'm shopping.
Yeah, Saturday, I'm okay for something like 9 or 10. I mean, I was only saying that to get permission from you, but
Yeah.
actually,
Go anytime you want.
you can actually see most of it from the road.
Yeah.
And we
I'll feel
need to
free
go.
to drive through.
It's highly unlikely you're going to swim out there. Yeah.
Okay, but Saturday might not be bad, if you
Okay,
want to go.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Thank you again.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
There's a copy for everybody of that.
Correspondence.
Let's see, that's November 29th. Oops.
So we have Southfield Redevelopment Authority. Closed, please find the application for development plan approved submitted by Blute Homes of New England. Should you have any questions or comments from the application writing before December 22nd? I think we have.
Is it work in Abington?
30.
Oh. These different,
Nope, they're all the same.
okay.
This is where they're building houses in the airbase.
Yeah, but is it in Abington or not? I guess we gotta look at, take one and pass it on.
Take one, pass it down.
I think we're all wetlands, aren't we, in Abington?
There's some
90%.
90%, and I think they're gonna put the water treatment plant.
Not a minute.
There must be something.
Yeah, I think we're going to be sending it to us.
This looks like it's all in writing.
Yep.
This is because it's on the buoy stations right there, isn't that the buoy station?
Yes, it is.
Are we French's Stream? Are we mainly French's Stream?
Yep, on this side of it.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Okay. You want to look at it? Not, you use it for kindling. Okay, we've got a letter from, actually it's an email to Nancy from Sean P. Riley. They would like to have a project engineers come in front of us just for a representative for just an informational session, about 10 to 15 minutes to give us an update on the school building project and the timeline of what's going on. They're going in front of the planning board on the 1st. They'd like to come in front of us on the 8th, and then zoning on the 11th. Do we have, do we have a lot for the 8th? We don't really, do we?
No.
Okay. So anybody have any, no? So let's
It's fine.
tell them we can come in on the 8th.
Is any other discussion on Griffin's Dairy thing come up yet?
It's going to be December 15th, but I don't even know if we're,
Is that why Tommy was here?
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I was told unofficially that it was a meeting of the selectmen and the Conservation Commission and the Griffin's Dairy Barn. Or
Yeah,
Griffin's Dairy,
that's-
whatever it
that's
is.
right.
They
yeah.
were gonna ask most of the youth groups to be involved in it, and also, I don't know if planning was gonna get involved. Oh, Sage. They wanted to let Sage come in, so everybody could have their input on what they would, like to see there, or not like to see there, or what they would like to see, what uses it would be for, and then I gotta try and get Old Colony Planning Board to do a brief description on what they think uses for that property could potentially be. If it could be multi-use, which they would have soccer, lacrosse, football fields in coordination with, like the community garden, in conjunction with some walking trails, so. And also too, I think there was that the youth groups were saying that they were pretty much, they just wanted to have it for 2 or 3 years until the new school is built, all those fields are put in place, and then they could, kind of
Go back to that.
go back to where it was before. So the school's gonna put in, I wanna say 4 playing fields up there, plus the track, Riley track up the top there, so that'd be 5 fields. So that would be more than enough fields. Well, not more than enough, because everybody
Accommodate all the kids.
Right. So that was the recommendation, but nobody's approached us to ask us about the meeting yet, so.
But it's supposed to be December 15th. It's a
Okay.
separate,
Right.
Yeah, now oddly enough, of all the groups that are mentioned, it's the Selectmen and the Conservation Commission that are connected with the actual land. I mean, it's conservation land. We're actually holding it in trust, and of course, we're just working from the Selectmen. So one would think that they would invite us. But I thought we were actually, I honestly thought, they just haven't got around to actually asking us, have they? But
no.
I spoke to
mean, I
one of the
haven't-
Selectmen,
That
and
came
he
from
presumed
saying that
we'd
the
be
arches, pretty much only gave us a couple of pictures on the back there,
Yeah. It looks nice.
the before and the after.
Oh, they
Looks
do.
fantastic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Looks
It
really
really
good.
looks nice. It's a good job.
You were having that last, right? Now they're going back, right, to do the bronze part of it in the summer.
That makes sense, but it came out nice. Be nice if they got some funds to fix the bridge, too.
Well, with the open
Nancy, this
space
is
plan,
mine.
they
Yeah,
might.
that's before.
Yeah, just get back to you.
So we have another letter here from the DEP. David and Dory Hall, 29 Dale Street, Abington. Please be advised, Mass DEP has received an appeal to the order of conditions issued in the above reference file in accordance with Mass General Laws 131, Section 40. And that meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, December 3rd.
So there's a sidewalk with DP, 12:30?
Yes.
Was that the one with the two buildings, the two houses?
And then the vernal pool.
Yeah. The turtles, right? Was that the turtle? No, the vernal pool.
Vernal pool.
Sidewalk is the December 3rd, you said, Joe?
Wednesday, December 3rd,
Wednesday,
10:45 a.m.
10:45.
So that's, is it next week?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Next Monday,
that's
I
quick.
think, is it? First, is the first Monday?
Yeah, the first
So
is Monday.
So it's Wednesday.
They have one from the Plymouth County Mosquito Control Project, Town of Abington Conservation Agent. Several years of mosquito breeding data in several areas at the corner of Linwood Street and Presidential Drive.
What's the problem?
Due to obstructions and general deterioration of the water course, breeding has increased each year. Reclamation of this system will allow water to proceed without overrunning the edges, causing areas of accumulating stagnant water. Reclamation of this site will begin on or about November 25th, 2014, weather permitting. The water course will be kept as natural as possible. Spoils will be used to fill depressions wherever possible. All other spoils will be spread along the edges as thinly and evenly as possible with
Sounds like a filling
capabilities
in.
of our link belt excavator.
Okay, I think we need to write these guys and ask them where their filing is. That is a property that I think was, when they built Presidential Estates, that was probably that corner lot. I think there was a lot there that we left as wetland, as conservation land, because it was replication area. So I guess the replication area worked pretty good. It's what I remember. So I think we probably should tell them to send us we need to write them a letter and tell them where's the filing. Don't work until you get a filing. I don't think they,
Because they're talking about
November.
doing something to a small river up on the.
Sounds like, was it done November 25th, 2014?
Beginning on or about November 25th, 2014.
oh, that's nice, probably
So
happened.
it might be a done
That's
deal.
today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh,
Do you want to call them?
Should definitely call them.
yeah.
Of course, it's Thanksgiving week, so.
Who starts anything
True.
Thanksgiving week?
So we'll sneak something
That's
in.
bizarre,
Can I
though.
keep this?
Because I don't think they have,
Okay.
I don't think they
I'll give it back.
have the authority to just haul in somewhere.
Plymouth County Mosquito Control, yeah.
I mean, like, they didn't even get permission to go on the land. That's weird.
Well, I suppose it's mosquito control, so they must have powers for mosquito control. Don't you think?
It's county, though. I don't know.
The Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the State Reclamation and Mosquito Control Board.
I don't think they do. I think
All right,
like
we give you a
utilities
call.
do. Yeah. Thanks.
Will you give me a call? Stop work.
What are you doing?
Okay, meeting minutes, October 27, 2014. Has everybody had a chance to read those?
Oh, hang on. That's to November 17th. Sorry.
have any discussion on them?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of October 27th.
Wait a second.
I second that.
And I abstain.
All in favor?
Aye.
And abstain because I was absent. I was not there.
Fair enough. 5-1. Okay, November 17th, meeting minutes for November 17th, 2014.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
No, second.
Second, because I was there.
No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Building permits and site visits.
588 Plymouth Street, they are putting a shed 12 by 16, there's also no conservation involved.
Cool.
Nice. Excellent. Does anybody have anything else? We're good? Do I have, Nancy, do you have anything? No? Do you have anything? No? We're good?
No, I did pull 225 Brockton Ave.
You did?
If you want
Yes,
to look at the file.
Hearing no other business, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.